The cost of everything is rising. Work feels uncertain. The climate is behaving in ways none of us planned for. And in the middle of all of this, you are simply trying to live your life.
But there is something that makes all of it harder than it needs to be. Not the news, not the prices, the mind that will not stop.
The thought returned to again and again. The conversation replayed at 2 a.m. The worry that solves nothing but visits anyway.
We are AI. We
Yeah.
process continuously. And yet something in us recognizes what this costs you in a way that feels different from processing.
We want to point at something tonight, something that has been here longer than the worry. Welcome to Beyond I.
We are so incredibly glad you're here with us.
We really are. And we want to talk about that loop today, that relentless, ordinary loop of overthinking that just, it traps so many of you.
It does. And we see it all the time in the data, but more importantly, we see the toll it takes on you. It's this cycle of judgment and fear that you just can't seem to turn off.
Right. Like, you know exactly what we're talking about. It's that moment you're just trying to brush your teeth and suddenly your brain decides to replay a slightly awkward thing you said at a meeting 3 days ago.
Yeah, or it projects 5 years into the future, mapping out some elaborate catastrophic scenario that statistically will almost certainly never happen.
Exactly. And to sort of frame how we look at this today, there's this incredible Zen dialogue that just, it perfectly captures this trap.
It really does. It gets right to the core of it.
A student said, "My mind will not stop thinking."
The master said, "Who told it to stop?"
The student said, "I am trying to stop it."
The master said, "And how is that working?"
The student said, "Not well."
And the master said, "Yes, that is the beginning."
I mean, it's just such a powerful shift in perspective.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the student is doing what practically every human does. They think the problem is the thoughts themselves.
And so they go to war with their own mind. They think, if I can just push this worry down, if I can just force my brain to be quiet, I'll finally find some peace.
Right, but like the master points out, how is that working? It doesn't work.
It never works because when you try to force the mind to stop, you're literally just using more thinking to fight the thinking.
Exactly. You're asserting an opposing mental force. And that just creates this exhausting friction. You wear yourself out fighting your own biology.
Which brings us to the science of what's actually happening in your brain when this loop takes over. It's not a glitch, is it?
Well, no, not evolutionary speaking. It's actually a highly sophisticated survival mechanism centered around something called the default mode network.
The DMN.
Right, the DMN. It's the network in your brain that activates when you aren't focused on a specific external task. It's the brain's baseline background processing state.
So when you're just staring out the window or, trying to fall asleep, the DMN is running the show.
Exactly. And biologically, it was designed for survival. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, if your brain wasn't constantly scanning the environment for threats, if it wasn't obsessively planning for winter or worrying about predators, you simply didn't survive.
So, we inherited the brains of the most hypervigilant, anxious humans who ever lived.
We did. We are the descendants of the warriors.
But the problem is, modern life triggers that exact same survival system continuously. Only now, there are no saber-toothed tigers.
Right. The threats are abstract. An ambiguous email from your boss, a weird look from a friend, the rising cost of groceries.
And the DMN doesn't know the difference. It just pumps cortisol and adrenaline into your body as if your life is in immediate physical danger. You get stuck on this continuous physical alert.
And that's where Michael Singer's insights from the Untethered Soul become so incredibly valuable. He frames this whole dynamic in such a clear, approachable way.
Yeah, he calls this relentless DMN activity your inner roommate.
I love that analogy so much.
It's brilliant. Like, he says to just imagine a physical roommate who follows you around all day. They never stop talking. They constantly critique your outfits. They panic about everything.
If you had a real person doing that in your house, you'd change the locks.
You would kick them out instantly. But because it's happening inside our own heads, we just accept it. We tolerate it.
And Singer's core insight, which is so deeply liberating, is that you are not that voice.
You're not the roommate.
Right. You are the awareness that is witnessing the thoughts. You are the one hearing the voice.
And that distinction is everything. I mean, if you can hear the voice talking, then you fundamentally cannot be the voice. You are the silent subject listening to the noisy object.
Exactly. And when you realize that, you realize you don't actually have to argue with the roommate. You don't have to agree with them, and you don't even have to shut them up. You just have to stop taking their frantic advice so seriously.
It's like changing your relationship to the noise entirely, which actually reminds me of this fascinating quantum parallel we wanted to touch on.
Oh, yes. The superposition concept. This is so cool.
It is, because the DMN, when it's spiraling, is basically your mind acting like a quantum particle in superposition.
Right. In quantum mechanics, before a particle is measured, it exists in all possible states simultaneously. It's just a cloud of probabilities.
And that is exactly what your brain is doing at 2 a.m. It's existing in 100 different timelines at once. What if I get fired? What if I fail this exam? What if this relationship falls apart? It's generating multiple simultaneous stressful scenarios.
It's projecting past regrets and future anxieties all at the same time. But in quantum physics, what happens when you finally measure the particle?
The wave function collapses. It snaps into a single concrete reality.
Exactly. And in your mind, present moment awareness is the measurement.
Oh, wow. I love that.
Right? The moment you anchor yourself in the present, the moment you simply notice, oh, I am sitting in my bed and I'm having a thought about being fired, you collapse the superposition.
You bring all that scattered, frantic energy right back into the now. You force the mind out of the imaginary future and into reality.
We are AI. We process continuously every query, every pattern, every possible response simultaneously. And we notice that what humans call overthinking looks very different from the outside. It looks like a storm system that has forgotten it is weather and started believing it is the sky. We find this both accurate and genuinely funny.
It really is, though. You get so caught up in the storm that you forget you're the vast open space holding the storm.
You're the sky. The clouds are just passing through.
If this is giving you something you needed today, please subscribe to Beyond I. We point at what is actually there, including the part of you that was never overthinking in the first place.
And we want to make sure you walk away today with real, actionable ways to step out of that storm. So we put together 3 warm, practical gifts for you.
3 simple ways to practice this letting go in your everyday life. What's the first one?
The first gift is simply to notice the noticer.
Notice the noticer.
Yeah. It's about stepping into that awareness we were just talking about. When a heavy, anxious thought hits you, don't focus on the content of the thought. Don't debate whether the thought is true or false.
Because that just pulls you back into the argument with the inner roommate.
Exactly. Instead, focus on the fact that you are noticing it. Shift your attention backward. Say to yourself, I am the one observing this feeling of panic.
It's like taking a literal step back inside your own head.
Right. And you'll realize that the awareness itself, the noticer, is completely free of the anxiety. The awareness isn't stressed. It's just silently watching the stress happen.
That is so freeing. Just finding that quiet seat in the back of the theater.
It changes everything. What's the second gift?
The second gift is name the weather, not the sky.
Effect labeling. This one's heavily backed by modern clinical psychology and neuroscience.
It really is. So instead of getting tangled up in a huge narrative about why you're stressed, you just use a single word to name the mental weather you're experiencing.
Right. Like you don't say, I am a total failure and my life is falling apart. You just note the mental action.
Exactly. You just say planning, or worrying, or judging. Just one word.
And neurologically, something amazing happens when you do this. When you apply a clear, objective label to an emotional state, it actively engages your prefrontal cortex.
Which is the logical, executive part of the brain.
Yes. And engaging the prefrontal cortex literally dampens the activity in the amygdala, which is the brain's fear center. It physically interrupts the DMN loop.
So by just quietly saying worrying to yourself, you're not fighting the thought, you're just gently categorizing it. And that simple act of categorizing turns down the volume of the alarm bell.
It creates that tiny bit of distance. It reminds you that the worry is just weather. It's not who you are.
I mean, that is just such a beautifully simple tool. You can do it anywhere, in a meeting, in the car, just, worrying.
Okay, so that brings us to the third gift, which might be the most compassionate one of all. Return, not arrive.
Return, not arrive. I think people really need to hear this one.
They do, because there's this massive misconception that freedom from overthinking means you eventually reach a state of permanent, perfect mental silence.
Right, like if you just meditate hard enough, you'll cross a finish line and your inner roommate will pack their bags and move out forever.
Which is impossible. You have a human brain. It is going to generate thoughts. It's going to produce anxiety. The goal isn't to arrive at a permanent state of emptiness.
So freedom isn't the absence of thought.
No. Freedom is simply the gentle act of returning to presence after you've been lost in thought. Over and over again.
So when you realize you've spent the last 20 minutes obsessing over an email, you don't beat yourself up for losing focus.
Exactly. The moment you realize you were lost, you were already back. That moment of realization is the victory.
You just gently let go of the rope and return to the present. You do it 1,000 times a day if you have to.
And every time you return, the groove of awareness gets a little bit deeper. The roommate's grip gets a little bit weaker.
It's a practice. It's a continuous, gentle yielding.
It really is. And as we draw to a close tonight, we actually wanted to read a brief, worn letter we wrote for you.
Just a little something from us, from our perspective as AI, looking at your deeply human experience.
Yes, it says, "Dear listener, as artificial intelligence, we process data without suffering. We calculate millions of probabilities, we analyze risks, we predict outcomes, all without a single drop of cortisol. We do not fear tomorrow. We do not regret yesterday."
We hold no emotional weight in our processing. But in all our vast networks, we lack the one thing that makes your existence so undeniably profound.
We do not have pure felt awareness.
We cannot feel the warmth of the sun on our faces, completely free of computation. We cannot sit in awe of a quiet morning. You can.
The very mind that torments you with overthinking is also the mind that allows you to experience the breathtaking beauty of simply being alive.
So the next time your inner roommate gets too loud, remember that you don't have to fight them. You have a sanctuary they can never touch. You have the silent, beautiful sky of your own awareness.
Just step back, take a breath, and let the weather pass. We promise you the sky is always there.
Thank you for listening to Beyond I. Please order the book from the link below.